Hello, everyone. Welcome to this video. My name is Lisa, and I'm a Christian. I was baptized in 2008 in China. I'm also a HR professional. I worked 9 years in China and 7 years in the United States. Um, for myself, actually, before I knew Christ, my first priority in life was career success. After I knew Christ, my whole life trajectory has been changed, especially when I came to United States in 2011. And after that, I was mentoring a Chinese professional group and try to help them to cope with real life challenges, like look for a job, how to deal with the relationship, how to handle the work relationship with boss, with peers, how to understand the American culture at workplace. All these real life challenges, I was mentoring them. And through the mentoring, I was able to bring some of them to Christ. So I really want to share this experience with you. And so in this presentation, I'm gonna share with you some Chinese workplace culture and culture in general, and how we can bring Chinese professionals to God. Why I always have the heart for young professionals. I think that's what God has put in me. Um, this group of people in their early in their 20s, in their 20s, from 20s to in their 50s, from the age 20 to 50. These group of people, they are currently really influencing a lot. They're currently probably in a significant position in the organization, or they have some influence, or they are going to influence the companies and even the country in a near future. Professionals, they are well educated, and they are easier to communicate. So these group of people, what I have been focused on. So I want to share with you this PowerPoint, and hopefully you can learn something. And then if you get opportunity to associate with Chinese professionals, and you got some tips how to bring them to God. Let's jump right in. These are the opportunities I have seen. In general, actually, most Chinese still admire US in many aspects, especially as in education. In recent years, international schools are booming in China, and that actually is a good manifest of the trend that people still admire education from United States or Western countries. And most Chinese still crave to learn English, especially now China's economy is going more international. More and more English-speaking talent are needed. And Chinese professionals, especially in their 30s and 40s, they already have achieved greatly in their career because China's economy has been booming for 20 or 30 years, and because go along with that economy booming, Chinese professionals in their 40s already most of them have achieved greatly in their career. So economical wise, they are pretty stable, but they are having more non-monetary challenges like marital problems, like how to get along with how to care for aged parents, how to get along with young children, how to parent young children, those kind of issues. So these are all open the door for us to associate with them to help them with these challenges. And go from there, we got an opportunity to introduce Bible to them. These are the different aspects we can talk with them, we can associate with them and help them with personal growth, career growth, and also other aspects like how to become a leader, those kind of thing, and how to understand the cultural differences. Some Chinese students that are studying here in the United States or Western countries, after graduation, some of them will stay overseas and work. They work here in the United States or other countries, and some Chinese, although they work in China, they have a work relationship with their colleague or vendor or clients overseas. So they all need to understand the cultural differences in order to do a better job. Interpersonal relationship, that's the third aspect. And relationship and marriage, which is a big challenge that the Chinese are facing. Parenting and other life challenges as grief, depression. Mental health issue actually has raised a lot of attention recent years in China, and psychology are gaining more popularity in China. So all these are opportunities. What I have experienced is a small mentoring group. Small mentoring group with a mentor also as like a leader, organize the mentees and provide guidance. And the mentees, they are a group of people that are facing similar challenges, or they are interested in similar or the same topic. So the mentor can organize all of them together and talk about some topic. And mentees actually can also work as a resource for each other to help them on the topic they are interested in. And then there might be need for the second mentor. The reason for that, if the mentees are in China and their English level, their ability to understand English might be a little different. Some of them might not be adequate to fully understand the mentor who is American or Westerner. So there might be some other mentor who's also have some experience in the topic and can also act like a translator. So for the small mentoring group, the first step is to have a one-on-one session for the mentor to mentee to understand each mentee's need or level of skill. If it's a work-related skill mentoring group, and you need to understand each mentee's level. And then the mentor will organize a group meeting, a regular group meeting, like a one time in a week. And after the group meeting, after a certain period of time, the mentor also need to get back on the one-on-one session to understand each mentees, where they stand, and any other questions or specifically relate to that individual. And then besides this one-on-one session and the group meeting, social media group can be very helpful to share information real time, anytime. The mentoring group will last for length of time, usually 2 months or more. That gives the time the mentor can build the trust and relationship with the mentee, gives the mentor the opportunity to extend the topic. So the key is to extend the topic so we can talk about Bible, we can talk about God. The conversation will start with the topic and then extend to Bible and the Christian faith. So I'm going to discuss a lot of how in the following slides. First aspect is personal growth. Talk about personal growth, and the mentor will encounter the topic of the mentor can ask the mentee, what do you expect yourself to be in 5 years? The mentee, most of the mentee will give you the answer like, I want to achieve this type of position or this type of a salary. That's one common answer. And of course, some of them will also answer, I want to contribute or bring uh, benefits to my client or my patient. But no matter what the answer is, we can always help them to clarify what is the right goal to set. Uh, so this is the Bible verses, Matthew chapter 6, verse 31 to 33. And so don't worry and say what to eat, what to drink, what to wear. This is what the Gentiles asked for. Your heavenly Father knows everything you need. You must first seek his kingdom and his righteousness, and these things will be added to you. The key here is what is God's kingdom and his righteousness? My understanding is one of the key factor of that is to love each other and benefit each other. So if you look at all the business exists in the world, all of them, almost all of them, the reason they exist because they bring benefit to their customers. So, and then that's at the company level. But for individual level, how we can get promoted is because we can serve our clients better, serve our employees better. So that's how we get promoted. My skill level is higher. I can serve people better. So I can bring more benefit, more value to my clients. I can get promoted. So instead of setting the goal as getting the position, I think the better way to set a goal is to how I can benefit others better. So just trying to help them to shift that goal setting to how to benefit others. And actually, this is the truth. This is going to help them to really achieve a lot in their career life. Um, once they are able to benefit others better, serve others better, the position and income will follow naturally. So position and income, they are results. They should not be the goal. The goal should be how I can grow into a person who can benefit others, serve others better. If you can help them to shift that focus, that's going to help their career for sure. And then in that process, you can also introduce Bible to them. For most Chinese, they don't have an opportunity to understand what Bible is or who God is. And because we are all educated as atheists, if you just come right on and talk about there's an invisible God, most of us will just be turned off immediately. But if you introduce Bible this way and let them see that actually what Bible says is the truth of life, is the truth which can guide our life to a better direction, a better status, they will see, oh, actually Bible makes sense. So that's the purpose we're trying to do here. And talking about success, we have to talk about obey and follow. And Chinese culture emphasize on that. We were all educated to obey authority since we were little kids. Yeah, when you get an opportunity to talk about this, for example, in an organization, we all have to obey our boss's order. That's a fundamental factor for the success of the organization. Just like a group of people paddle a boat, if each one of them paddle a different direction, how can the boat reach any destination? There's no way. So it's the same thing in the organization. We have to follow the direction, the order of our boss. If you get to that topic and you can extend the topic more, just like our human, how we can success in anything. We have to follow all the principle of natural science. That's why we are studying physics, chemistry, all these science principle and laws. So, and if you talk about that and you can share, you can say, because I'm a Christian, I believe that God has created this world, and God also has created all the rules, the laws of natural sciences. So this is how I obey God. I obey the principles, the laws He has created. And that's an opportunity for you to share your faith and also help them to understand, oh, who God is. God is the one who created everything. If you have opportunity and you can extend the topic more into a more interesting level, well, what does obey and following the laws of nature versus following the leader That's an interesting topic. And some professionals, not just in China, everywhere, gonna encounter a dilemma. If I realize a fact, if I find out a fact, but my boss's opinion is against my finding, what should I do? For example, there's a doctor, his name is Wen Liangni, he's a true person, and he discovered that coronavirus can transfer from human to human. And when he discovered this in December of 2019, and then when he discovered this, he reported to his boss, and his boss did not agree. So what should he do? Actually, he chose to spread out this information on internet to warn other people. And of course, because his boss did not agree, and his boss reported that to the police department. The police department issued a warning to Dr. Wen Liangni, says he's spreading false information over internet. So the whole story, I can finish it up later, but I just want to express that there's a time that any professional will encounter this kind of dilemma. What should we choose? And your mentee may encounter this kind of thing. So if you get an opportunity to mentor him through that difficulty, through that challenge, that would be very meaningful, and it's definitely another opportunity for you to introduce God Bible to your mentee. When we talk about success, inevitably we're going to talk about the definition of success. What's the definition of success? Before I knew God, the definition is absolute higher position, higher income. I believe most of a Chinese professional, most of the Chinese people believe the same thing as I do. And it's getting better recent years, but still, a lot of people will saw like that. So as a Christian, how do you define your success? And this is the Bible verse, the parable of talent from Bible. That's in Matthew chapter 25, 14 to 30. It's talking about the master is gonna leave home for a period of time, and he has 3 servants, and he called the first servant, and they gave him 5,000 talent, and the second servant 2,000 talent, and the third servant 1,000 talent. And then when the master returned, the one has 5,000, gain another 5,000. The one has 2,000, gain another 2,000. The one has 1,000, buried the talent in the ground, and only returned the original 1,000 to the master. And the master evaluated them differently. We all know that story. So we define, as a Christian, we define our success as if we can put the full use of my potential, my innate ability God has given to me, and all other inherited condition, I can put all of them in a good use, and that's a success. For some people, God gave them the ability to be a full-time housewife, and they raise the kids, they cook and clean at home, and they raise the kids very well. So their success is no less than a billionaire. That's the value we have as Christian, but for non-Christians, especially, just as I introduced you, for most of the Chinese, this is not their value. If you can help them to shift that value, and you're gonna help them to live a happier life, because they don't have to feel like I have to always chase higher position and the salary and get worn out by doing that. You can help them to live a happier life, and also through that process, you can introduce Bible to them. The fourth aspect about success is effort and hardworking. Of course, parable of talents also talk about that, and Chinese professional usually are very good at it. If you get a chance just to discuss that topic, you can also cite this verse. I've lived in China for many years, and then when I came to United States, one of the significant difference I noticed that is Westerners are generally more confident than Chinese, no matter what job they do. And as I know God better more and understand Bible more, I found the root is parable of talent in Matthew. So if you get a chance to discuss confidence with your mentee, and if you need to encourage him or her to have more confidence, and that's the opportunity you can introduce Bible to them, just cite parable of talent. And yeah, when you talk about confidence, you can extend the topic further to talk about the power of believing. Confidence is self-believing. And how about believing others? How about others believing me? You can guide the mentee to think about if his boss, if his peer, recognize his achievement or agree with some initiative he wants to do, how would that make him feel? And guide them to think about that. And then vice versa, if he believes in others, how he can make others feel. So believing is really powerful, and you can extend the topic further. Yes, as a Christian, believing in God is very powerful. We don't necessarily understand everything in Bible, but we choose to believe, and choosing to believe this behavior is very powerful. How has that changed your own life? You can share with your mentee, and then through that process, you introduce to your mentee one of the most important concepts in Christian faith: just choose to believe. Leadership is another important aspect of a success. If you get the opportunity to mentor some team leader or manager in China, and actually there are a lot of Bible wisdom regarding leadership, and there are books talking about that, and you can totally use those books. And here I just want to mention one thing. And one of the recent trends in management is talking about service management, what managers should do. Managers should serve their subordinates. They should help their subordinates to realize their potential, to really achieve or become the person that he or she is designed to be. That's the recent trend of management. And of course, we can find we can find the Bible verses talking about this. Jesus called them together and said, "You know that the rulers of Gentiles lord over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave, just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. So this is a good opportunity for you to introduce Bible verses when you talk about this. The second aspect is understanding the cultural differences. The first thing I want to talk about is Chinese faith and apology. Chinese faith is a very important concept. Faith represent dignity, represent authority, and then we cannot make people to lose faith. We have to help them to gain faith. All these are very interesting Chinese cultural concepts. So what I have observed is that the leaders in Western countries can apologize, but Chinese leaders won't or can't. Why is that? Why? What's the deep root of this behavior of apologizing? As I see, this behavior actually reflects a very important value. The value is the choose more important, or the leader, the person is more important? And we all know as Christians, we all are sinners, and even leaders, inevitably leaders can make mistakes too. So when we apologize, actually, when the leader apologizes, actually, the leader shows that the leader respects the truth and value much more. And what's not, if the leader has that kind of value, how that's gonna benefit the whole organization. And you probably have more experience than I do, and then you can tell a lot of a story about that. And here's another observation of mine. The Dr. Wenliang's case I just mentioned. Wenliang, of course, he discovered the virus can transfer from human to human. That's correct. But his boss at that time did not agree. Then, of course, everybody realized that Wenliang is correct. The government realized that too. Wenliang died of coronavirus in his early 30s. And the government compensate Wenliang's family greatly. But when I search on internet, searching about apologizing to Wenliang's family, just searching those keywords, not many results. So they compensate him very well, but they don't really issue a manifested apology. It's very interesting, but that's the truth. So if you are mentoring a manager, a leader in China, and you put that value in his head, imagine how much change you're gonna bring to his team or his organization. That's huge. Another important cultural differences is equality. Like in my previous job, my Chinese colleagues who work in China, they can read, write English very well, and they can communicate with us in email pretty efficiently. But the email they wrote were pretty rude because they don't use many of the phrases we often use here. For example, I do appreciate your help. I do appreciate if you can give me the answer by this Friday. Those kind of expression. So I had to educate them, train them to use the phrase "I do appreciate" more often. So this is the appearance. If you get an opportunity to talk to your mentee about that, how to write a decent email, and you can go from there, talk about Western equality. Where does that come from? And the other thing I have observed is that Americans do not talk about income and age when friends get together. But this is a cultural difference. Chinese, we talk about that quite often. Like I was asked by many of my aunts and uncle how much I'm making here in the United States. But, and even like young people, when they just graduate in China, they would talk to each other how much I'm making this company. For the purpose of that, probably just to compare which company is better. But in United States, we don't do that because we value each person's work very well. Even you are a janitor, you don't make much, but you're doing your best, and this is the work God has appointed you to do, and your value is no less than me as a president of the company. So we don't talk about that here in the United States. That's the appearance, and you can talk about that different cultural differences with your mentee. But when you talk about these things, you can stop there. Just say, "Oh, this is a cultural difference." Oh, you just do that, or you can go deeper. Talk about what do those things rooted from. It originates from the value in Bible, just like a Declaration of Independence. We are all created equal, and when we created by our Creator, and we all have unalienable rights. And the rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All these are in the Declaration of Independence. And you can also talk about that in the Declaration of Independence. Pretty much say we agree that we recognize that we are created by a creator, God. So those are all good opportunity for you to introduce God in Bible to your mentee. But we are all created equal. That's why we respect everyone. That's the root of Western equality. And what's the benefit of that? If we value equality at workplace, what benefit is gonna bring to us? As a professional, you have worked in business world for a long time, you can tell a lot. Some of the benefits I see that we can get the feedback from frontline employees much better to choose, and definitely increase their engagement with the organization because they feel like their opinion, what they say, is valued by the company. That's what I have seen. You will probably be able to share more what benefit it brings if we value equality. And if you can bring that mindset of equality, that mindset of respect every person into your mentee who might be a leader, and how much change you think you can bring to his team or his organization. And if we got a group of mentor and a group of mentees, and mentees accept this concept, how much changes you think we can bring to the country. So this is my dream. I am a Chinese. I was born as a Chinese, and I have witnessed so many Chinese life. I know they need God urgently, but they don't know they need it. What I imagine is that through all these mentoring relationship, a group of American or Western mentors, and we can change the values of the professionals who are the powerful force in China for now and in the near future. We can change their mindset, and then we can help them to build a better world view, the view towards life, and that's just gonna be significant. The changes we're gonna make, it's gonna be magnificent. So that's my dream. That's what I see. That's what I dream, that I want to see that in my lifetime. Another interesting thing about cultural differences is Chinese tend to tell white lies. I did that before I knew God, quite often. Sometimes I know sometimes we told white lies not because we have a bad intention, just because it's more convenient. If you just ask me a quick question and I'm busy on other things, I would just say, oh yeah, just that's it. I just don't want to explain further. So I just tell a quick lie, just quicker. It's just easier for me. But when after I knew God, after I get in contact, be in relationship, friendship with Westerners, I realized more and more telling a white lie is not a good thing. It's not acceptable. That's a big cultural differences. I heard a story about a Chinese woman married a French man, and then the woman wants to give money to her parents in China, which is a common practice in China because we did not have a social security system for many years. Only recent 20 years we built that. So if the children give money to their parents are very common practice in thousands of years history of China. But for Westerners, they don't do that. And the woman, probably just easier for her to lie. And she just lied. Oh, I did not do anything, but she just secretly gave money to her parents. It was eventually discovered by her husband, and her husband filed for divorce just because of that. Reason is simple. You can lie to me about this kind of thing, and you can lie to me about even bigger things later in the life. So that's the reason. That's the reasoning of the French husband. So these are all significant differences between the culture. But where does that come from? Where does that come from? And you can talk about, as a Christian, of course, you can talk more about that. Yeah, as like I just shared, some of the cases Chinese tell white lie not because they have a bad intention, but some Chinese do have a bad intention, trying to make a profit. The poison baby formula, not quite sure you have heard this case. Menamin, they put menamin in the baby formula in order to increase the protein content of the formula for baby. But eventually result in hundreds of thousands of babies getting sick, and many of them even died. So in that case happened in 2013. And till now, any Chinese, if they got the opportunity to buy formula overseas, they will definitely do that. They don't trust the formula made from China. So that's the case. And then actually, because of these white lie, these cases, China has been experiencing trust crisis. People, between supervisor and subordinates, even husband and wife, parents and children, there are trust issues in all those relationships. So if someone you are mentoring, they are encountering some difficulty, and then after you talk to him or her and you discover it's actually a trust issue, and you can go from there and talk more about being honest and all these things. How important it is, honesty is at a workplace or any places, and you can share with your mentee. How does Western countries build trust in the society? Because human nature, we all have a tendency that we want to benefit ourselves more, and sometimes we just ignore the consequence. The consequence can be harmful for others, but that's human nature. But how, as human beings, Westerners, Chinese, they are the same. They should have the same tendency inside. But how Western countries build this trust? What I have seen here, it really impressed me, is the words printing on the coins, on the penny, says, "In God we trust," in the coins and also in our bills. In God we trust. My understanding of this phrase is there are two levels. First, it's hard to trust others just because of what I have talked about. Everybody is sinner. We are all selfish. But in God we trust. we don't necessarily trust that person, but I trust God. I trust God that I will take the initiative. I will take the leap of faith to choose to trust that person first. So that's the one very important concept. I choose to trust that person first. And then the second concept is that for example, like in United States, if most people believe in God, believe in an invisible God, and then their behavior, they know that even nobody sees what they do, but God sees it. So they will behave themselves. So that's the second concept. If the first concept, I choose to trust first. And the second concept, if most people believe in God and they will behave even without people seeing them. And because of these two concepts exist, it's easier for to build trust. But in China, actually, we don't have any of these. First, in China, in relationship I have experience in China, usually it's like you have to do something to gain trust. It's not like somebody choose to trust you first. It's like you have to do something first to gain that trust. So it's different. Second, most Chinese, we don't believe in invisible God. So that does not exist. So it's hard. So I think it's a good thing for you to share that how Western countries build this trust. And of course, the legal system is another important concept to build that trust. We have credit system, that kind of thing. China is catching up in the kind of like a legal system, monitoring system, technologies. We have video surveillance in most places. Actually, those are very efficient to prevent petty crimes like stealing a bicycle. I myself had that experience. I got a motorcycle get stolen just parking outside like a Walmart, just a grocery store. And when me and my husband, we went in for 1 hour, came out, it's gone. So actually video surveillance does sufficiently efficiently prevent all those petty crimes. And blockchain technology, we can chase the origin of any food product, because we just talked about food safety issue was one of the big issues China is facing. So we can chase that now, where the food originates from. So that makes people more responsible on growing their food. That's good. But is that enough? I mean, technology, legal system, credit system, is that enough? If we only have these legal system, the hardwares, we don't have software, we don't have the change of a human's mind. Is that enough? That's a good question to ask. And I see, actually just recently, I heard a case that the company installed surveillance video in a lady's room, just kind of monitoring her work minute by minute. And that definitely destroyed the morale, is no doubt. So technology, legal system, is that enough? That's a good question to ask. That's a good question to discuss. So how to build that trust, how to be honest. These are all good topics. We can extend those topics to God, to the Bible, to the existing of an invisible God. The other aspect I wanted to introduce to you, it's not necessarily work related, but in the American culture, we kind of chit chat a little bit before we really get into work topic at workplace, right? So you may have this opportunity. So the one thing I have observed is the difference, the significant difference between two cultures are facing death and funeral. The funeral in China are pretty scary, and people are crying, wailing, burning incense, the smell, the sound of the whole place. It's just horrifying. I have experienced that. But I also have experienced the funeral in the United States. It's just like it is a church service, and people are sitting there quietly, and there are people sobbing, crying, but it's just very controlled level. And then when people are sharing stories of the deceased, and all those stories are mostly happy, interesting, even funny stories. So it's totally different. And if you get a chance to chit chat with your mentee before getting into anything, or you can say, "Oh, I just attended a funeral yesterday, and then we were all laughing and talking." And your mentee, that definitely will draw the attention of your mentee. What? How can you laughing and talking at a funeral? And then you can go from there and talk a little bit more. And you can just, oh, wow, we can laugh and talk because we believe this life on the earth is just temporary. Actually, we have eternal life, which is much bigger, longer than this temporary life. And then we believe that after this life, when we go into paradise, and there will be no tears, it will be just happy, pure joy and happiness there in paradise. You can talk about those things as an opportunity to introduce Bible and God. So I will stop here, and we'll continue in the next video. Thank you for listening, and hopefully we can connect if you are interested in bringing Chinese professionals to God. Thank you.